I'm not about to spin cock this one. Sunday Gunday. What's going on, everyone? Back with another episode of Stuff and Things, and today we're taking a look at another lever action rifle. After shooting the mare's leg, I definitely caught the bug. This thing was a great little shooter, but it isn't really my cup of tea when it comes to the aesthetics of the whole thing. The one we are taking a look at today, however, is definitely right up my alley, so let's take a look at the Henry Big Boy All-Weather. When Henry first released their all-weather line, the only available chambering options were both rifle calibers in 30-30 and 45-70. Luckily for some enthusiasts out there, they must have sold pretty successfully because they have now extended that family to this big boy, as they call it, chambered in either 44 mag, 357 mag, or 45 long Colt. This new option is great for people who like the idea that I touched on briefly in the mare's leg video, having a rifle chambered in the same caliber as your sidearm or vice versa. This version is chambered in 45 long Colt and is almost identical to the all-weather rifle counterparts with the same 20-inch barrel and steel receiver with a hard chrome finish. The sights on top are also the same with a brass bead front post and a fully adjustable semi-buckhorn rear, as well as the same beautifully stained hardwood stock and black rubber recoil pad. Of course, this gun has the much-loved classic Henry lever action, and if this thing shoots as nicely as the mare's leg did, this might be my new favorite in their line. The whole point of this all-weather line was to create a very tough gun that can take a beating in rain, sleet, hail, snow, or whatever you might find yourself in. For me, this will most likely live its life as a fun target shooting gun. I think the gun looks great, the fit and finish on it is top-notch, just like what you would expect from a Henry rifle, so I would really prefer to keep this thing in the best condition possible. I am really curious to see how this thing shoots when compared to the mare's leg. I think it will be fairly similar, but there might be some slight differences where I actually prefer this over the mare's leg. So let's load this thing up and I will come back for a first mag impression. Short stroked it. Alright guys, back for my first mag tube impression of the Big Boy All-Weather. When chambering that last round there, I thought it felt a little weird. It just turns out I short stroked it and didn't eject that last round. So definitely not a malfunction on the gun's part, that was just shooter error. Now right from the start, this thing definitely shoots very, very similar to the mare's leg. The only real difference that I noticed is that I can keep it way more stable. With this stock, I can put it up against my shoulder, and I actually prefer a rifle form of a lever action as opposed to the pistol version. I was just shooting at about 25 yards there, and as you can imagine, this thing is just stupidly accurate at that distance. It did take me a little while to get the mare's leg sights dialed in, so basically since they are so similar, I just set the rear sight to how this one is set up. And as you heard, it was dead on right from the start. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of these buckhorn sights. They do work and they function. They fit the gun very well. It just goes with the whole aesthetic of everything and a lever action rifle. But since this gun is all weather and kind of rugged, it would be cool to see some modernized type of sights on here. Maybe like a fiber optic front post and a ghost ring rear, something like that. But again, that is all just personal preference, just an idea of something that I think would look cool on this gun. These function just fine. There is a little bit of serrations on the front post below the brass bead. That way it'll cut down on some of the glare. As you can tell, it is super bright out here today, but I have no problem picking that up. To line up these sights, you basically drop that front post bead right down inside of there, just above the diamond on the rear sight. And like I said, this was super accurate at a short distance like that, but we will see in a second here how far I can actually go out with this. The top of the receiver on this gun is also drilled and tapped, so you could put a rail or any kind of scope on top of there. I probably will not be doing that because this thing is very rugged right from the start, so I wouldn't have a problem taking this thing out in the woods with me. You could go hunting with it and kind of bang it up without having to worry about an optic on there being broken. But that is definitely a nice touch that they give you that option. One other thing that I noticed is that the materials that this is made out of makes it significantly lighter than the mare's leg counterpart. When you have a gun in the same form factor with this brass receiver and brass fittings all around it, this definitely gets a lot heavier than this model would. I obviously don't have a scale out here with me, but if I had to guess, I would say these are fairly close to the same weight. But if the mare's leg was in a rifle length, then this thing would definitely weigh a lot more than the all-weather. So far, the recoil seems pretty non-existent. I'm just shooting some regular Fiocchi 45 long Colt rounds. And the low recoil coupled with the awesome Henry action, it makes this thing like basically clicking a computer mouse. Just the fit and finish on everything, it feels like a very high quality piece, and it is. The finish on the stock and fore end is not only very attractive in my opinion, but it is a very smooth finish. It almost feels like a matte type of paint, but it is just hard stained wood, sanded very well, and like I said, the fit and finish on this thing is top notch. That short stroke that I had at the end may have been because I was used to shooting the mare's leg, which has an extended loop lever. Here is a side-by-side comparison of that. As you can see, the mare's leg is a little bit more extended, and I shot a lot of rounds through this, so I was kind of used to that. Once I get used to this, however, I think I would prefer this a little bit more because it is a little bit more low profile. It doesn't protrude so much from the gun, and it just looks like a more complete package. Now, the enlarged loop lever definitely has its purposes, but for a gun like this that I'm basically going to be coming out here and shooting for fun, I don't really need that. Like I said in the beginning, I'm not going to be spin cocking this thing. I'd rather keep my face how it is and not bash it all up with this front sight post. Now, since this is the all-weather, this thing is corrosion resistant and it should be very durable, but like I said, I don't want to go around banging this thing up. When filming the B-roll in the mare's leg video, I accidentally had it fall off of a rock onto some smaller rocks and into like the mud. It made me cringe as soon as I heard it hit the ground because I knew that it was going to kind of scuff this thing up. While this isn't my cup of tea, I still think that it is a beautiful gun. You can see I did nick up the front end a little bit, and there's a few little scratches on the rear here, so hopefully I do not do that with this all-weather. Then again though, this thing is marketed as being super durable and reliable, so if I do scratch it up a little bit, I guess that is sort of the nature of what this gun was designed for in the first place. Now, like you saw, this thing is fed through a magazine tube, so you simply twist this little knob up front and pull this out. I chose to keep it in, but you can remove it completely, and you can see the little orange follower here. To load this thing up, you simply drop rounds down the front of the barrel. It is actually cut out in the same way as the rounds, so you should not put these in the wrong way. It actually doesn't let you. And then once you fill this thing up to 10 rounds, the last one will sit in the top there just like that. You simply reinsert the tube down into the notch, twist it over, and you are ready to rock. Now, I only brought 100 rounds with me today, so I will make do with what I have. So let's go out and see a little bit more of what this thing can actually do. We're gonna start off back here at about a distance of 75-ish yards. Yeah, this thing is really accurate. Now I'm back at about the extent that I have to work with here today, roughly 100 yards. I have no doubt that this thing is going to be accurate, so any misses will probably be on me. Yeah, this thing is stupid accurate. Awesome. Let's try one of these. That just goes to show how little this thing actually recoils. Here's a few more accuracy tests. First, I'll shoot left-handed, which I am not. This is awkward. We'll shoot sideways, all gangster-like. And now this one, I really don't recommend. Do not try this at home, but I'm just curious to see if I can get a hit at about 50 yards. Oh, that is so awkward. About there. Yeah, buddy. Stupid accurate. Let's see if I can get through a whole mag dump without short stroking. Yeah, buddy. And we still got time for a bonus mag. Let's see if we can do this one a little bit quicker. Click. Didn't count the rounds, but we got them all. All right, guys, back for my final thoughts on the Big Boy All-Weather. The proof of what I think about this gun is all in those shooting clips there. Like I said, don't do what you see here on the internet. I was just doing some of that stuff for fun. It was all in a safe and controlled manner. But as you saw, this thing is stupid accurate at all different distances, from up close at 25 yards all the way back to the end of my range as far as I could get without going back into the trees. The gun is super confidence inspiring, and that is just with the iron sights. I could only imagine what I could do with this thing with an actual scope on here. The fit and finish is obviously not only in the feel of the gun, but the performance as well. This thing performed like crazy. The gun is safe and clear now. I will show you what the trigger pull looks like, and honestly, you won't be able to see a whole lot. I'll just slowly place my finger on the trigger. There is no take up, there is no creep. You're just right on top of the wall. Super light, crisp break. This gun is really like a masterpiece in my eyes. Yes, the mare's leg was really good, but this is way more my speed, the aesthetics, the performance of it. Being able to shoulder this thing and just be super accurate all over my range with it, I am a huge fan of this gun now. While I will really only be bringing this out here to have some fun on the range just like you saw today, this could be pressed into a hunting application. These are chambered in all sorts of rounds now. Like I said, there are some rifle calibers and all sorts of pistol calibers. So you could really set this thing up and go hunting with it if you wanted to. It will hopefully hold up to the elements and be rugged, corrosion resistant from anything that you might take this into. But I just think this is a beautiful looking firearm, and I will hopefully keep it this way for a long time. Now, the only downside I could really see to purchasing a gun like this is the price. You're going to be looking to spend around $1,000, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, depending on where you can find it. But with that price, you are getting this awesome Henry action, super good fit and finish. And this is the type of gun that, as long as I keep it in a nice running order, I could pass this down for generations to come. My grandfather actually passed down a lever action rifle to me. I never shot it, but this thing, since it is fairly new and I'm going to be taking good care of it, I think this will run for years and years from now. This is kind of off topic, but one thing that would be very cool to see would be this exact rifle, but with a mare's leg barrel on it. If you were so inclined to get an SBR lever action rifle like this, you could basically cut the barrel length down to about the same as the mare's leg, and then you could still have that stock on here and still guaranteed be very accurate at pretty much any distance you really want to shoot at. I am excited to see where Henry Repeating Arms goes with these in the future. You guys may have seen or heard me talk about their X1 series, I believe is what they called it. They're putting Midwest Industries forends on here with M-Lock and maybe even key mod, making these things super modern and tactical looking. While a lot of that is cool, I really do appreciate all of the features of this gun. The very nicely stained hardwood stock and forend. I really don't need to keep saying it. You guys get the picture that I'm a big fan of this gun, and I am happy to have this in my collection now. So I guess that's really all that I had for today. If you guys have any questions on the Big Boy All-Weather, feel free to leave those questions in the comments down below. If you own one of these already, chances are you are a big fan of it, so if you have experience with it, let me know. Now, if you're new here on the channel, consider clicking subscribe because I make new videos every week, and that's going to be all for today. So as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next one.